Over the next 10 years, Comcast is committing $1 billion through Project Up to reach tens of millions of people with the opportunities and resources they need to build a world of unlimited possibilities. Learn more at comcast.com/projectup.
Hi there, I am Adam Kevas, and you are listening to another episode of my podcast where we talk about various things, about philosophical topics. And we are still in the pandemic. I'm still here in Ordu in Turkey. I hope that you all are doing well in this pandemic now. Winter is approaching. It is October, so that I hope that you all take care of yourselves. Today we will continue with our emotional connections. This will be our last episode on that topic because I thought about it in order to whether we should go further, whether we should analyze things further, and analyzing things further would mean that we would go into more into psychoanalysis, more into psychology, especially where we would talk about object relations, or as it is called in German, Objektbeziehungen, which is a huge topic within the psychoanalysis, as well as in the psychology as well. However, I decided against it. First of all, there is enough material you will find on that topic, I think, even in English, because most recent publications are all in English. And secondly, again, this would then be all about psychoanalysis, and like I said, why it is smarter in general in psychology or in any case about the mind not to center your attention to one approach and so on and so on. So it is very common, and it is even advised within the social science in the humanities to mix approaches, so do not use one approach whatsoever. However, I think in our psychological inquiry up to now, we try to some sort of bring in many approaches. We try to get things from different angles and so on. But of course, our main topic was desire. We some sort of partially swayed from it. However, but still, I believe that emotional connection is a key to understand desire, what we desire, what types we go for, as well as I will some sort of a little bit recap what we talked about. Is again, my interest in desire was, of course, to analyze why are we attracted to certain women, why are we attracted to blonde women, or why are we attracted to brunettes, and so on. One example I talked about was in Austria, where blonde women have a certain reputation, which you can analyze through jokes told about blonde women. I have not heard a lot of blonde jokes in English. Maybe they are or not. I don't know, in the English sphere. However, they are very common and popular in German, and so every man at least knows a couple of blonde jokes, which always indicate, or the key narrative in this joke is that blonde women are stupid and in a way over-sexualized, and we some sort of drew the connection to the over-sexualization of women in our society. This is especially blonde Caucasian women, white women. These women are mostly over-sexualized. This is the type of women you see in many ads, in many auditions, whatever. So they are pretty much everywhere. So and this sexualization of the female body is mainly a sexualization of this white woman, of this Caucasian woman. And we came to the conclusion that these things are desirable, of course, as a man, but of course there are biological factors to us as well. We said it is very common that women through evolution always chose a man suitable who could protect her, who could some sort of defend and ward off enemies and so on, and as well as to a social status. I mean, of course, these explanations within the biology, they are all. This seems in first hand indeed understandable, rational, and so on. Yeah, and we will agree to it, but in reality, always we have to add to it. Things may differ and so on, and the same is for men. Of course, we came to the conclusion men are not different. Men seek in a way as well as or desire partially, if you want, women according to their biological or physical appearances. This has always to do with the offspring. This means that women with broad hips and big boobs are indeed being desired because biologically speaking, this means that a woman has with broad hips assumably has less risk or less risk to die in childbirth, and big breasts means mother milks, she can nourish her child, and vice versa with women some sort of seek man suitable for the offspring, which you would then say strong and so on, because they want their offsprings too. However, then we came to the conclusion that this social Darwinistic approach is not appropriate. You find in society, in reality, a lot of things which might differ. We said that in history, if you are interested in war, or not interested, but if you analyze war and so on, then you see that there are indeed a lot of significant signifiers, a lot of incidents or occurrences which have an impact on the development, on how you desire, on how we came about. Then, of course, we talked a little bit about our recent time, about fear and your psychological dispositions, which then actually would assume that you, or which then leads to you, according to your biology, act irrationally. Irrationally then means that you do not choose a man suitable to your offspring, or a woman suitable to your offspring, because you have some sort of fear we said about through excess, through the over-sexualization. And this over-sexualization, of course, men are influenced by this as well as women. So this reduction of a body, which leads to fear that you cannot perform, fear that you might not be enough, and as well as this is something we did not talk about, this fetish, or we only talked a little bit about this fetish of the body. So the female body becomes some sort of a fetish, not only an object of desire and fetish, and then people some sort of desire irrationally. And this is, I brought the example of Sex and the City. Those who know the series, this is the example of Miranda, who some sort of adopts to a male society. However, this adoption to a male society, yes, comes with success, yeah, but always, as it is right now, as well as with sacrifices in that sense, that these women sacrifice their femininity in order to adapt to this male society, and this means that they are insecure with their sexuality. Therefore they rather choose men which they can control in that sense. If you want to talk with Alfred Adler, whom we only a little bit knew I talked about him only a little about. However, this fear then leads to an inferiority complex. This assume, or that you assume in a way that you are sexual in it, not experience that you do not have this vibe, if you want, like Aphrodite, which is some sort of advertised in the media, in the ads, and so on. So you fear your own sexuality, you fear not being able to satisfy the man, and so on. So this is rather you control your inferiority, or try to compensate your inferiority complex, and then you rather choose a man whom you can control, and this is vice versa for man true as well. So a man who feels insecure in his manliness, in his standing in society, will rather seek some sort of try to control the woman he is with, as well as that women in that sense are being considered some sort of a sex object. I brought this example over and over again in some areas, or still to this very day. If you are a man and if you walk on the street or whatever with an attractive woman on your hand, then people assume that you are potent, and so on, and vice versa with women, whereas with women, you would rather see, if women run around with younger men, then it is mostly always assumed that she's wealthy and that he is some sort of after her money. However, but we have some sort of irrationality, we have some sort of psychological implications which determine desire, which then actually says that we do not act always rational, if you want, according to our biology, because rational, to act rational according to our biology would mean that we always go for the best suit, that we always go for the woman who is the most healthiest, or who is suitable to be a lot of children. Of course, this is not true anymore, and it has changed as well, because now we do not see, or society has changed. In order to be clear, our work, our way of life has changed, how we conduct our lives. Now we have a lot of leisure time. Now humans are not only about having children. Now it is all about enjoying your life. You could then assume, because of the social formation has changed, the social formation of family has changed. You do not seek a woman or a partner anymore just to have children with, but rather to spend time with, to follow your hobbies, to follow your needs. This is what you can see with the decrease in birth rate. So fewer and fewer children are born, as well as more the divorce rate is higher, and of course many people or couples live together without marrying, so there's some sort of in a partnership without actually having married. Some sort of family bonds are in that sense became loose. So people rather seek a partner whom they spend their time with. So you would then assume, because of society and because of the change of society, this is not up to date anymore, that we would seek a woman or that we would seek a partner with whom we could want children with. However, but yet still, this is something we have to emphasize as well. Your biology, you cannot switch it off. So this means if you and this proves a little bit on social media or everywhere, if you see a lot of or if you only scroll down on Instagram, as well as all, and there you can see those with the most followers and with those sleazy comments in the comment section. These are mostly women who are attractive, have big boobs, broad hips, and so on, and they are some sort of considered the role model, and they have a lot of male followers on social media. So you can pretty much see this as well as in other industries, let's say porn industry. In the porn industry, where almost every porn star, whatever, has big breasts, and porn is mostly seen by men. So this is still actual. So our biology is still on plays a role. You would have to rather ask yourself, where is the boundary, or where how much biology is in our desire. What of course what we have to mention as well is that women, of course, we didn't say this more clearly, is that women of course look at a man in a way you would assume healthy. So if you look in a man or a woman, we have some sort of sociological research which shows that people, if they get to know each other, they always look at each other's hands, teeth, and so on. So in order to determine whether someone is healthy or who someone is, and so appearance does indeed play a crucial part. How we perceive others, what we think about others, and so on. However, a considerable part of our desire is, in a way, irrational, is led by fear or by other things. This is what we then continued with your social milieu, your social class, where you come from. You feel comfortable with the people you surround with. We talked about religion, for example, in the US, where you are surrounded, where the church plays a crucial part in the organization of the people, and they some sort of get to know each other. People who have been together almost their childhood, they do not mix a lot with each other, so they socialize with each other, and this comfort, if you want, then leads to a special desire. Let's say we talked about French Canadians, and they then have some sort of a feeling of well-being, a feeling of home if they are among other French Canadians, as well as they share the same religion. Language, we talked about language, which is a key to emotional connection as well. And these developments, these connections have a history. Have this is nothing you can feel at once. So there is something on the making, if you want. So emotional connections, they last longer, like friendships. You do not become friends with anyone who walks down the street or whatever. No, you have a special bond, you have special history you share with each other, and so on. So we talked greatly and lengthy about this topic, which is necessary as well, and we because it is necessary for that matter, because human evolution built a lot of language, built a lot of communication. Communication is something you have among bees as well. So I don't know, this is maybe some people might not know this, but bees have a small bee as well as a small animal, whatever it is, has capability of communication. However, what is generally human is the part of empathy. This is the key difference between humans as well as animals. This is not that you are able to communicate. It is rather firstly language. But if you only look at chimps, they have sign languages, so which is part of a language. Bees dance in order to tell others about where they can find nectar. Bees dance, but what humans have, this is empathy and empathy in that sense that you, as a human being, can put yourself into another human being to understand him. This is understanding, this is emotional connection, where you can feel, let's say, not only the physical pain of someone. For example, if someone, hurts himself, you of course might feel the physical pain of this person, because you yourself hurt yourself as well. We all have hurt ourselves in a way or another, so we know when something hurts or whatever. But emotional connection means that you can go beyond this physical pain, for example, to understand the heart pain of someone because he or she broke up with someone, or because of a loss, the pain of someone who lost someone or lost anything, whatever. So you some sort of understand this, you have a connection to this, or you have an emotional understanding of the hardship of someone. We talked about a social class when you're poor, where you struggle, or if you belong to a special race, or if you belong to a race, to whatever migrant group, then you some sort of have a connection and understanding, and where you feel, despite this person has not real physical pain, you still feel a connection, or you still understand someone's hardship as well as someone's excitement. This is what we haven't talked about as well. I mean, we all some sort of are influenced, if you want, by Romeo and Juliet of Shakespeare, those two lovers who could not find love, who misunderstood the signs and then died, so never got the fulfillment of love, if you want. And so this is something which then leads to heart pain, because everyone can some sort of imagine a loss, or everyone can imagine a separation, no matter whether you're poor or wealthy. There is something, we feel some sort of a sadness towards this, but there is not only a sadness. We do not share just sadness, as well as we share happiness, joy. If someone is excited, or if someone has accomplished something and he's overjoyed by it, then we of course share this joy as well. Then we of course appreciate. We can partake on someone's joy. Let's only in emotional or in sexual desire, for example, this would then be that you enjoy that someone is, for example, excited by you, someone likes to be you. But as well as in friendship, you always appreciate the accomplishment. Or if you are a true friend, then you always appreciate the accomplishments of others, and so on. So and you celebrate their victories. You are victorious. And in a partnership, it is this connection that goes beyond friendship. We talked about it, that friendship, there is a difference between your friends, your peer group, with people whom you hang out with, and your partner, the person you sexually desire. And we try to separate this from each other. So friendship, but we did not go much into detail, because I think for this we'll need an extra episode, or we would have to analyze friendship separately. However, friendship, if you want, does do without desire, so without sexual desire, as we define it, because friendship, you just be interested by someone who just is there for you, and so on. Whereas sexual desire, you really are intimate with someone, as well as mentally, as well as physically, and so on. I mean, of cause the separation. We will some sort of later on try to separate this better. But for here, for now, we will some sort of leave it there. But it is indeed a very interesting topic and very difficult to separate, because where starts friendship and where ends friendship, if you want, and where starts love. And every couple will say, that his or her partner is not only the love of their lives, but as well as their best friends. However, you cannot, from a male perspective, you cannot say everything to your wife, or you cannot confess everything to your wife or to your girlfriend. If you do, then you are naive. At least, I would say so. This is my opinion. However, you cannot share all your worries and so. And yet, with friends, you can. With friends, especially if you have understanding friends, they will understand your sorrows. They will understand your whatever it is. You will rather confess to friends than to your spouse and so on. However, but we will maybe talk about this later and so on. However, what we wanted to say in this emotional connection theme was, what we left out partially, was that sexual desire always needs a response as well, or love in that sense always needs a response as well as emotional connection, because it lasts long, whereas sexual desire is rather about an object you want to possess, rather that you want to satisfy your own need and craving for that matter. However, and sexual desire in that sense can be misguided as well. In that sense, I mean, this is obviously some perversion, fetish. We all know this. We won't go into detail about some depraved desires as well. This is something there is always a specific. There are a lot of things you can read about on the internet. So, but there's no need for us to go into detail for us. However, we try to some sort of come up with an understanding, or we talked about the Oedipus complex as well, that how the first formative years of a human being starts, how we get influenced with which role models we have. I mean, it makes sense. Again, the psychoanalysis is indeed one of those highly contested theories, approaches. It has a loose scientific foundation, because mostly it is hard to prove in that sense. I mean, there's your conscience, your subconscious is indeed there are not enough possibilities to prove them. I mean, your memories is one part of it where you can some sort of analyze things. But however, I mean, the psychoanalysis, however, try to understand it, try to structure it. Lacan, with his structuralisms, tried to structure it and so on. So there were many attempts. However, we will not go into this too much. We only talked about the Oedipus complex, how this emotional connection of the child occurs, and as well as how homosexuality might develop according to the psychoanalysis. This is again something which will be contested as well. However, we wanted to mention, or I wanted to mention it, because I think it is indeed interesting in that sense that there we have an attempt to understand further human interactions, and like I said, we don't have much which resembles these attempts. We don't have much which could some sort of match this attempt, if you want. I mean, I said this before, and I will say this again. We do not have much psychological research in that sense, which really tries to deeply understand human beings. We have philosophy, especially in the English sphere. This is mind. So there's this mind science, and there are a lot of researches about mind, about how the mind works. So, but this is rather confined to philosophy. People thinking about it. It's hard to prove, and so on and so on. However, with psychology or with science in our time, because you have to prove it, because you have to be able to some sort of make general statements, it has become very difficult to really prove it. I mean, I brought an example because I saw a couple of years ago some new, I think it was a video, a clip or whatever it is. I mean, I don't remember, but I saw something where they tried to measure love, and they showed some women or some people photos of their loved ones, and then with a brain tomographer they some sort of try to see or reveal which areas of your brain gets activated when they see their loved one, and then they assume that you could then therefore measure love. Well, I think you have to take these researches with a big grain of result, because firstly, this could be everything. This could be love, hate, desire. So if just a couple of regions of your brain some sort of get active when they see a person, this is actually no indication whatsoever. And everyone's brain is partially differently wired. Maybe it was we won't talk about this, but your brain in a way is structured like, if you want, for your fingerprint. This means the structure how you think about something, the structure how your brain some sort of works through information, processes information. This is indeed unique. Of course, if you went to school long enough, then the way you process information becomes pretty much similar. But let's say, maybe I give an example. I mean, if you have been learned, let's say, which is very common, if you learn in school that every country or the capital of France is Paris and so on. So then you learn in school every time through this reiteration that there's every country has a capital, every country has a center, everything is on the center. There's always one reason, there's always one point, there's always one explanation, and so on. This is then your mind works in that way, if you want, in this very simplistic example. This means then you always try to find for one issue one solution. There is one capital of Paris or France. There is one cause for one thing. There is one issue for one thing. I mean, this is what we would always. This is what postmodernism always criticized it on the old academic thinking. Yet still in school or wherever you are, you still practice these thoughts, these moments where you always try to be this one, or your mind works that way. So there's only one reason for this one reason. There's one solution, and so on. So you learn a lot of fact bases, and of course everyone will say, yeah, so what? Yeah, there is just one Paris. Pardon me. There is just one Paris. There is just one cause, mostly, if you want, in physics. Yeah, what are we talking about? How? Yeah, this is true, of course. And it might seem But especially if you do not separate between humanities and between science, which is confined to physics, if you want, because then you some sort of see everything in that way, meaning that you some sort of see through your life with social interactions, with that you do not see a difference in social interactions if you see everything through the eyes of physics, with cause and relation, one principle, one thing, and so on. One thing leads to another, and so on and so on. Then you always assume some sort of a rational worldview, a rational cause for everything. But we some sort of try to see, or I try to prove, and that this is what I will talk about later on, irrationality. This is, I think, a very important topic, that we mostly act irrationally. However, but if you grow up like this, or if you get informations like this, that everything would have been one principle, there is just one thing for another, and so on, there is one cause for another, then you always assume that this same applies to your mind, this same applies how your mind works, that your mind tries to always deduct from a many possible outcomes only one outcome, and so on, and thinks that this is the truth, and so on. This, of course, influences the way you think. This is the key message here. However, and then in real life, you start to think in that way. So one after another. It is maybe too difficult, or for some, maybe not quite clear what I'm talking about here is, but it is rather the way you think is being some sort of trained in you, especially when it comes to finding solutions. This is one of the reasons why many people, especially in the US, who are very successful, who accomplished a lot, because they were visionaries, because they had ideas which went beyond the boundaries. These are mostly people who were some sort of freed from this one solution, who could go beyond this and were not confined in this thinking, in this, if you want, narrow path thinking which you some sort of are being trained in school in order to perform. I mean, a simple thing is math. There is just one right answer to a math problem. Period. There is not anything beyond that, and everyone would understand. And we do not some sort of. I do not question that. I mean, this would be stupid if you say that 1 meter is so long, or that if you add or subtract something or multiply something, that we would have multiple results. No, this is not the case. Everything has to be accurate for maths, for science. It has to be accurate because we have to some sort of live in a society. We are surrounded with in a society where you have to be accurate, where the things we are surrounded with have to be accurate. The car you drive, this has to be accurate. The plant has to be precise. You cannot just say, there has to be more solutions or whatever. But then if you bring this approach to a relationship, let's say you are in a relationship with a woman, you are in a friendship or whatever, then you will find yourself stranded if you some sort of think that way, that everything is always exact and I can determine whatever it is. I mean, I can straightforward say what's in my mind, even though it is hurtful and so on. Well, then you will probably end up alone and so on. So this is something which we then must learn after we leave school in that sense. So thinking out of the box, and many entrepreneurs proved that, many successful entrepreneurs proved that, who always were capable of thinking out of the box, and this leads partially to success, and so on, led to their success, and so on. But this is something I think we would have to talk a little bit about Immanuel Kant. He was one of the first, I would say, who some sort of, or no, it was Hume, David Hume, and then Immanuel Kant, who was the first who came up with the structure, how these thought processes, how your mind works, or if you want, how your mind processes an information like if we want to come back to our topic on information. Let's say you see an attractive woman. She's blonde, she's attractive, big boobs, whatever, and every man some sort of processes these informations differently. Someone, like we said, who has a high self-esteem will look at this woman and say, yeah, I could be with her, and so on. And another who is some sort of afraid of over-sexualization will say, yeah, well, oh my God, I probably cannot be with her, or will even have thoughts like, yeah, she's probably a whore, or she has probably a lot of suitors, whatever you have it. So we process informations always differently in a different aspects, and as well as emotions. We are very emotional, so you cannot separate your emotions from your thoughts or how you process information. I mean, of course, if you want to go a little bit into philosophy or into perception, of course, everyone will detect an attractive woman, which is some sort of valuable in a society. This is something which probably will you will accomplish without much emotions or without much emotional interference. But if you then go beyond that, I mean, if you further process this information, yeah, this attractive woman, she is desirable, yes, but can I be with her, or am I able to speak to her? This is, as a man, you would ask yourself, and so on. So we process informations differently. This is what I was trying to say here. So that the structure, you process information, as well as the solution, you process information. The solution here would be: should I talk to her? Should I say hi, or should I just walk my way, or keep moving because I don't have a chance, and so on, because I don't think myself attractive, whatever it is. This indeed have an effect, and is an effect how we structured the world, as well as how we find solution for a problem. So and so on. However, so this was the last episode. I mean, there is of course a lot to talk about, but if we continue, then you would have to go much into detail into psychoanalysis. It is indeed interesting, and like I said, we are not finished yet. There is a lot to talk about emotions. Emotions is indeed a big topic in the humanities, and very interesting indeed, a very interesting topic. We tried to come up with desire. Desire was is very interesting, what you desire, and so and there's of course some further inquiries will be necessary. Of course, maybe if I gain more information, insight, and so we'll see about this. However, I will some sort of the next topic I wanna talk about is actually irrationality. So this would be some sort of the conclusive subsequent topic. I mean, irrationality. This is again something I like to talk about, which I think is the part of emotional connections as well. What we think about, or why we act the way we act, and so on. So we talk about this, but before I do this, I wanna again record a story. This time in Germany, my mother tongue. I have something in mind, so this will wait in that sense. So it will wait a little bit before we can some sort of start in this next topic. However, this was emotional connections. I am Adem Kirbers. Thank you for joining my podcast on this October day in Turkey, in Ordu. We are in the pandemic, as you know. Please take care of yourself. Keep yourself and your family safe and healthy, and as well as others. Thank you. Bye.
It's finally time to start firing up the grill. From city to shore, Acme is everything you need to prep for this summer season. Download the Acme app to shop for this season's essentials any way you want. Open the Acme app, clip your deals, then order your items online. An experienced Acme associate will carefully select your groceries, bag your order, and bring it right to your car or deliver right to your door. Download the app or visit acmemarkets.com for program details.